Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Spicy Bookish Podcast with me, Nikita.
And me too.
Also known as Ginger and Spice.
Beautiful.
So this is our June reading wrap-up. And honestly, I can't believe we're here. Because that means that the brunch is in a matter of weeks. Which is insane.
It's 2 weeks away. Two weeks tomorrow.
2 weeks from us recording this right now, which is fucking nuts.
Oh, lordy me.
So, as always, this won't be like a rundown of all of the books that we read throughout the month. I'm sure a lot of you that are listening that have listened to many of the pods, especially the wrap-ups, will know that we tend to just handpick a few from throughout the month that have been left over and that we haven't discussed yet and that we maybe want to talk about. Because if we talked about all the books that we read in the month, we would literally be here forever.
Yeah.
And, no one has the time. Not just us, but no one. No one's got the time to be listening to that.
Also, we discuss them on the way.
Yeah, we do discuss a lot of them on the way. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so before we get into the actual books and stuff like that and how many we read in June and blah, 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 let's talk really quickly just about our month in general. Like, just how we've been getting on.
Fine.
Great conversation.
What? Wait, no, what do you mean?
Just in general. Let's just have a chit chat,
So,
a brief breakdown of our month.
So my month was pretty hectic. I felt like I was busy all of the time.
Yeah.
So obviously I had the little holiday, the little hollybobs in the middle.
Your hen party.
Hen party in Greece. And that kind of broke up the month for me. And then when I got back, I just couldn't get my feng shui back.
Yeah.
There was no feng shui this whole month. I was everywhere and nowhere.
I feel like we've been saying to each other, I think only the last couple of days, I think I said it to you, it might have even been today. I was like, I can't be fucking bothered doing anything.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of being so overwhelmed mentally with everything for the brunch.
Yeah.
And also managing everything in between, plus our general life.
Yeah. And the heat. The heat in this country is disgraceful. I cannot even get into, like, I might have even mentioned this on the last pod, but I'm going to mention it again. Like when you go on holiday and that heat hits you when you get off the plane and you're like, oh,
that's nice.
This is fucking lovely, this.
Yeah.
This is me for a couple of weeks. Love it. It's that heat, but in England. It's disgusting.
And it's not nice.
It's not nice. It's horrible.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm just walking around in my pants in my house.
Yeah, I am literally constantly attached to one of the fans in the house. So if I move rooms, the fan moves with me. We have a fan in here right now.
We do. So we've had to... So on either side of the bed, we've got a fan each blowing on us. And then we've got one in the front. Like, because you can't get enough fanage.
Yeah.
And then we leave them on all day. For no real reason, because nothing's going to change.
No, just blowing the hot air around. Yeah.
By the time you walk back in there, nothing's going to change. But it makes us feel good.
Yeah.
Be like, yeah, keep those fans on.
Just waste the electricity.
Absolutely.
In today's economy.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
I agree. It has felt like a very busy month. Now, obviously, I don't have a 9 to 5. I don't have a normal job, quote unquote. And even I have struggled to do things. One would think, not having a 9 to 5, that you would have all the time in the world to do all of the things. But actually you don't, because I still take like a lunch break and everything. I get up in the morning, I have my coffee, I deal with the cats. Yeah. But when you give yourself more time, you take more time to do things.
Yeah.
Like if you say to yourself, right, I'm going to give myself like 3 hours to get ready to go out tonight. You will take 3 hours to get ready. You won't take your usual 1 hour or 1.5 hours and then have a little bit of me time in between. You can have a little drink, take some videos, you won't do that. You'll take 3 hours and still be late.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That probably doesn't go for everyone, but I certainly would do that. So I feel like now that I've given myself more time to do things, it takes me more time to do things. And, riddle me that. How does that make sense? I know I can do all of the things in a shorter space of time.
You just don't want to.
I don't know. It's things like obviously I'm playing with the cats more because I'm home all day, and spending a substantial amount of time, trying to get Bambi back, one of the cats, from the neighbour's garden. So at least 4 times a day. So I'm like constantly with them all the time. And then I'm trying to read. And then it's like if people come round to the house, then my flow is broken. My feng shui is kicked out of whack.
Feng shui's fucked.
Yeah, like I said to Tia the other day, I was like, I actually read more books when I had a full-time job.
Yeah.
And how does that make sense? I know that I am spending a lot of time, like obviously I'm editing the pod now when Ella was doing it before. So I'm editing the pod now. And that does take up a substantial amount of time. And then I'm back into the software the day after. So on the Monday after it's uploaded, I'm back in the software to start editing the pod snippets.
Yeah.
And then obviously we've got other social media content around that as well that needs edited. And then especially if I'm just throwing something up, like off the cuff, that's an immediate hour to 2 hours taken out of my day. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And we fucking ramble. So when we film a video, like we filmed our top 5, only 5 books of 2026 so far, we were talking for about 22 minutes.
We do talk shit. Like,
22 fucking minutes.
Do you know, like, when we're doing it, when we're videoing, at the time, I'm like, I didn't say enough words then.
Yeah.
I don't think I said enough. But really, I've talked for about 4 minutes.
Said way too much, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you've ever tried to go through a 20-minute video and get it down to less than 3 minutes, but it's fucking hard.
It is hard work.
It really is. And then you've got to make it fun to watch. You've got to think about what clip do I put at the start, because what if the hook isn't good enough, and do you know all that fucking nonsense. Anyway, so I feel like the start of these podcasts have somehow turned into like sob stories.
I'm not sobbing, I'm all right. I'm just cracking on with my day.
Anyway, it's been a busy month. It's going to continue to be a busy month until the brunch is done. So reading also was a little bit difficult. So aside from like personal stuff and us being like busy in our personal lives and stuff like that, reading wise, it was a struggle.
I've actually done a lot less than I normally would. And there was like so many books that I put on my June hopefuls. I don't even think I'd done even half of the books.
Yeah, no, I didn't either.
I've had Neurovance on my hopefuls for about 4 months now. Yeah. I refuse to take it out on my Goodreads to put it back in again as well, because it'll upset me.
Yeah.
It's just going to sit there and wind me up.
So obviously we did a video on social media where Tia basically picked a book and made me pick the book that was already picked, which was Neurovance. And we were intending to read that in June and then do it in the wrap-up. But time, when I say it severely ran away with us, it severely ran away with us. And then we were working out the pod schedule and we were like, you were like, I want an MM week, I want a Why Choose week, I want a Cowboy week, I want a Daddy week. Yeah. And I was like, okay, let's start with MM, because I quite fancy doing that as well. And we'll chuck Neurovance into that. So the first podcast in August is going to be MM.
Yeah.
And then that's when we're going to do Neurovance. So I've also had Neurovance in since obviously you said to me, oh, we're going to read it now.
Yeah.
So I've just taken it back out of my... When we say hopefuls, we're actually talking about our currently reading on Goodreads, which we'll have a quick discussion about in a second. Because if you follow us on there, you probably think, what the fuck are these two doing?
What is wrong with you both?
But I put Neurovance into my currently reading on Goodreads, and then I took it back out when we had decided that it was going to be in an August pod, because I was like, I just need that list, my currently reading list, to just go down because it'll make me feel better.
That's fair.
And then I'll add it back in when I get to August. I also don't like it when the dates are like, you know, when you finish the book and it's like, because some of ours will be like, started 4th of April, finished 16th of September, because it's just sat in a currently reading.
Will be, yeah, for me.
That's what ZA9 is going to end up being like. Also, the ZA completion is coming up, and that is, we've actually put All Darkmoor Penitentiary into a currently reading because we have a scheduled podcast for that now. And that is not movable.
I've not put Darkmoor in yet because I've already got 14 books in my currently reading. If I add them in, that's going to be 19.
I had 19.
And that's not good.
And I got rid of Neurovance.
That's not good.
So now, I think now it's 18. It could be 17, actually, because I got rid of Give Me More. It's either 17 or 18 I've got in there now. Yeah, and it's hella intense.
Yeah.
Looking at a list like that. So, talking about our Goodreads currently reading, I know that this isn't how other people use Goodreads, and I get it. But it works for us and it keeps us on track because it means that we don't forget to read something that we know we have to read.
Yeah.
And also with like author collabs and stuff that we do with indie authors throughout the month, it helps us with that because then we go, right, what's the next one in the list to read for the author collab?
Yeah.
And we know it has to be done by a certain date.
Yeah.
Things obviously can get overwhelming when you've got like 65 million things on the go. And then you need to add in all these books at the same time. So the reason, basically, what we do is we go, right, what are the themes for this month, podcast-wise? What books do we want to read just ourselves separately? Like, oh, I really want to read that this month.
Yeah.
What's our 12 for 12s? Obviously separately. And then we chuck them in, whatever ones they are. And then we have like any agreed ones that we're going to do together. We'll chuck them in as well for the month. So we'll actually go through, a lot of the time, we'll go through like what that podcast is. So for example, if it's Mafia, we'll be like, right, what Mafia books do we want to do? And shall we do one together? And then we'll pick one together and we'll add them in. And then we'll be like, right, let's do 3 books each for that. Or let's do 2 books each and 1 book together.
Yeah.
And then that'll be enough for the podcast. And that seems to work well for us. So then we take all those books that we agree to and we chuck them into our currently reading. Now, we don't always do it for the whole month. I think for me, it's gradually worked up to that. Usually it was like just for the next week. I would just chuck them in there. I was only
doing like a couple of weeks in advance, but now it's
like the whole month.
It needs to be because we've got just so much going on. I won't even remember.
No, I know. So I've got, we both currently have the whole of the rest of July. So if you want to have a look at what we're planning to read for the rest of this month, it's in our currently reading. And I will say, I have to stand firm on this. I cannot veer away from that list ever. We do not have the time to veer away from any of the books in that list this month, like at all. At all. So it has to stay as it is because it's already a long list.
Shit up because I like to throw in some spanners.
I physically can. I don't have time to be moving around from that at all. You know, and one has to live. Like, we still have to do things like food shopping and cook dinners and, you know, spend time with our children and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So I can't always be reading. As much as I would love to just chuck my headphones in and get my eyeballs on some pages in every spare time I have.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, I should probably go and talk to my family.
Yeah. It's hard out here.
It is, yeah. So, like I said, if you want to know what we're planning to read for July, it's all in our currently reading on Goodreads. And the link to our Goodreads, shameless. I don't know if it's a shameless plug. I mean, we don't get anything from Goodreads, but if you don't follow us on Goodreads, or you not follow us, but you can follow and friend people on Goodreads, by the way. And I don't actually get I don't get what the difference is. Like, just friend request us. We accept everybody. I've never declined anyone on Goodreads.
What's the difference?
Like, I literally don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. Because obviously you used to be able to message people on Goodreads, and I don't know if that was only for like friends before or not. Maybe. But now they've removed that facility to be able to message people, to DM people on there. So I don't know. But yeah, find us on Goodreads and send us a friend request, please. We want to be friends. I fucking love having a little scroll at nighttime before I go to bed on Goodreads and see what everyone's reading.
Do you?
Oh yeah, I'm just like liking everybody's updates. I fucking love it, yeah. And then sometimes I'll see a cover I really like, actually a lot of the time, and I'll be like, ooh, what's that? And then I'll go into it and I'll be like, ooh, that's a why choose. I can go on my why choose list. Or...
Oh, I might have to have a little scrollage.
Yeah, I do it, not every night, but at least a few times a week. When I'm lying in bed and I'm finished for the night and everything's done, I'll just have a quick scroll on Goodreads before I set my phone down and go to sleep, and I love it.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's like a part of my little bedtime routine.
Yeah, lovely.
I mean, I wouldn't recommend being on your phone, obviously, right before you go to sleep, because it's not actually good for you, but fuck it.
Needs must.
Yeah. I'm on my phone all day anyway, so who fucking cares?
Who fucking cares? One simply cannot get off the phone.
We're going to have merch made, and one of the things that's going to be on the merch is who fucking cares?
Who gives a fuck?
Who gives a shit? Who actually gives a shit?
Who cares? Just do what you want.
We're on a floating rock in a universe of nothingness that's ever expanding, we think.
It's getting fucking hot out here.
Yeah.
Just do what you want.
And the world's just getting hotter. So who gives a shit about anything, really? Nothing actually really matters.
No, that's...
It's not that deep.
No. That sounded so deep, though.
Yeah, it
didn't it?
Yeah.
I can't talk about that now because it'll upset me.
What? about just being on a floating rock.
Yeah.
And nothing actually even really matters.
It's a lot of words, isn't it?
Yeah, I've gotten I really love space and astrology stuff. Not like star signs, like actual, astrophysics and stuff. Fucking love it. And I've been watching little science videos recently, and it's really niggling back into my brain because I went through a phase of it at one point, and I read that Stephen Hawking's book, A Brief History of Time.
Oh, nice.
And I feel like I want to go back and reread it now. And also, I was listening to these audiobooks on quantum mechanics, and they blew my fucking mind. They literally blew my mind.
You've lost
I fucking
me
love it. I do.
So far out of the park. I don't even know where to go with that.
Yeah.
I don't mind watching the stars. I love, with a glass of wine, sat outside looking at the stars, fucking eat that up like there's no tomorrow. That is a bit of me. Outside of that.
That's so vastly different to what I was just talking about, innit?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I like looking at the sky.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to know anything about it.
No.
That
is as far as I get.
Yeah.
Oh, no, aeroplane. That's as far as I get.
Oh, dear.
Oh, good times.
Did you know that once you reach the speed of light, that time starts to slow down?
How did we even get here, though? What are we trying to achieve out of this now?
Just, I'm in my
facts of the day
science geek era. If anyone has any good books I can read apart from the Stephen Hawking's one, obviously, about all that kind of stuff, can you let me know, please? Thank you very much. I just want to feed my inner geek. When I went on holiday with Joe once, we were actually in the Maldives, and I downloaded this app where maybe other people have done this. This isn't a geeky. Well, it's not that geeky. I downloaded this app, and you can point it at the stars, and it shows you the constellations, and it explains what they are.
Oh my lord, that you just said a word I don't even know. Constellations? What do you mean?
How the stars are arranged. The star constellations in the sky of the stars. So you have Orion's belt. That's a constellation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a group of stars together that are always together.
Yeah, right.
And then it explains what they are, why they're together. Whatever. Let's just move on.
Yeah, we should. We are on two very different sides of this.
We're on two different planets. Bum bum.
I love you.
Okay, so I read 19 books in June, and there were 2 books that I was going to talk about in this pod that I'm now not going to talk about, and I switched them out, and I'll talk about why now before we get into the books that we are actually doing. So I'm going to be doing 3 books in this podcast. The 2 books that I'm not doing anymore are 24,690 and Teacher's Pet. So 24,690 is by A.A. Dark. And in the Girls' Night In podcast, I did touch on it right at the very end, if you watch that to the end. And I wasn't overly enamored with that. Everyone kept saying that 24,690 was going to be super dark. And actually, I even seen a post on it the other day. I can't remember who it was now, and someone was talking about it's on their TBR coming up and they had said, oh, I'd seen so-and-so talking about it and saying it was one of the darkest books they've ever read. I can't remember who the people were. And I was like, how did we get to this point where it's being cycled around? It's dark, don't get me wrong, it is dark, but it is absolutely not I wouldn't personally put it into the category of the darkest book, one of the darkest books I've ever read.
Yeah.
I mean, it's on Red Rabbit by Devon Rivers level.
Yeah.
That kind of vibe. But it didn't quite hit that level that Red Rabbit did with that situation with the auction, the underground kind of rape facility, if you wish. So she had an owner who was older. He died, and then the owner of the actual facility actually has always liked her ever since she was a lot younger. And she's always liked him, the guy who runs the place. So now she needs a new owner, but the guy who runs the place, his best friend, wants to buy her. And he sort of kind of runs the place with him. Now, initially you think that he's a more decent guy than the one who runs the place, but he's not. It actually turns out he is the biggest prick on the fucking planet. Anyway, the guy who likes her is like, well, I shouldn't really do it because, I'm supposed to be running this place, blah, blah, blah. So he ends up letting his friend buy her. It's a whole thing. Like, he's like, it has to go up for auction. She still has to go up for auction. Like, and if you can bid on her, then you can get like blah, blah, blah. So the guy's like, his best friend's like, okay, I'll get the money together. So anyway, he buys her. She ends up with him. The guy who runs the facility ends up not in the picture for a long period of time or for the rest of the book. And then it's just her and this absolute prick of a man. So first point is you've now got no MMC to relate to, like in the sense of like, or root for, I should say. And I know not all books are like that, like, but I assumed from the basis of her relationship with the guy who runs the place that was going to be the romance that was going to develop. And then he just disappeared. And I was like, okay, well, now for most of this book, I've got no MMC to root for because I actually know that the one that now owns her, he's not the one that she's going to end up with. Anyway, he ends up being a prick to her. Like, really bad. She ends up fucking married to him. And then she ends up in cahoots with, like, one of his bodyguards. There's all children that are kept there. She's trying to get them out. And it's just all, like... It just all got very messy. And I was like, I'm not vibing with this. And it was like, what it was like pockets of dark situations as opposed to the whole book being consistently dark.
Yeah.
It was just like, this situation is quite dark. This situation is quite dark. This is quite dark.
Yeah.
But all the bits in between were fine.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, well, sure. Anyway, so I ended up giving that 3 stars. If you're into dark romance and you would like to kick it up a notch and potentially start dabbling into pitch black, I actually think... And I know not a lot of people would probably say this, but I think it would be a good entry point into pitch black.
Oh, that's good.
In my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Anyway, and really quickly, the other one that I did was Teacher's Pet. I actually can't remember the author of this. Katerina St. Clair? I think it's Katerina St. Clair. And I actually did this at the beginning of the month. So this is book 2 to Forgive Me, Father. Can't remember what the whole series is called. And I fucking loved Forgive Me, Father. It was so good. And that was like, fuck, that was hella dark. That went to a really fucking dark place. And I did love this book, Teacher's Pet, but because I read it what feels like eons ago, I was like going back over my notes to like get them all together, going over my quotes and stuff, and I was like, I don't even remember that situation. I don't. And then I found myself, I was like having to read, the paragraphs before it, and then I got to a point where I was like, wait a minute, how did they even meet? What was the very first time they saw each other? And I couldn't remember. And I was like, well, I'm not going back that far. I'm not reading that whole situation again. I do remember like specific scenes. There was some like really nice scenes and the tension between them was delicious. Obviously, it's student teacher. So age gap, absolutely. It is going to be delicious. And he was actually like part of the mafia as well. Like it was a little bit weird. It was like on the run. So he was being a teacher and it all came back to haunt him and, that kind of situation. And it was good. And I remember enjoying it at the time. But unfortunately, it was just one of those ones where it's like, oh, I fucking loved it in the moment. You shut the book and then it's gone.
Yeah.
And you just move on. Do you know what I mean? It's not like a long lasting one for me. I gave this 4 stars. And I have written down here that I think that's probably mainly to do with like the spice and the tension in like the first half of the book. 'Cause the first half of the book is just all romance, romantic development. And then the second half was like the plot kicking in and all that kind of stuff. There was a really great scene. It is worth reading it for some of the spice, but there was a really great scene which you would fucking ate up where he's sitting at his desk, she's sitting under the desk, she's giving him a blowy, and then the class all starts piling in. And she doesn't stop.
Yeah, that's good.
Like, she keeps going and he's, like, trying to keep it together.
Yeah.
And then, like, there's a guy in the class, like, of her age who actually quite likes her, but he's a CUNT. And he kind of, like, he's like, I think I know what's going on there. So he comes up and starts being a bit of a cunt, like, behind the desk. And obviously, he's still being sucked up. It was so good.
Yeah.
Some of the scenes were insane. There was one where she was like in the library. I love me a library situation, where they start getting it on in the library.
I love a library situation.
What was the book where... What was the book? Was it Nocticadia? No. What was the book where she was in the library and they were being watched by someone?
Speak.
Was that Speak?
It was Speak.
It was, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was it was a really good scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was with the professor as well, wasn't it? Yeah. It was kind of similar to that, but they were like sitting on like, I think if I remember, it was some kind of like window ledge type seat, like window seat, and she just straddles his lap and starts like grinding on him, and the dirty words that said in that scene is insane. It's so good, like so deliciously spicy, and the tension is so good. But yeah, apart from knowing that and those nuggets of information, I know nothing else. That's it.
Excellent.
Anyway, those were the 2 books that I was going to do, but apart from what I've just said, like I said, I've got nothing else to give you, Darren.
Mm-hmm.
I've got nothing else, Darren.
That's
so
all right, Darren.
I'll quickly say the 3 books that I am going to talk about, and then I'll flip it over to you, and then you can discuss any of the books that you were going to do, especially because I know you DNF'd one of your 12 for 12s as well, so you quickly mention that. And then if you just talk about the 3 books that you are going to do as well. It is 3, isn't it? Or have you got more? Yeah. Okay, so the 3 books I'm going to do is, the first one is 9-month Contract, which is actually sitting behind me here. I'm going to try and spin. Now, this series, the physical books, are probably, I'm going to say, up there with one of my favourite books on my bookshelf, as in the way that they look. They look so good. I'm going to try and zoom in now so you can see them, but they've all got sprayed edges as well. And I wish you could feel them, because what she's done is she's given the first one a shiny cover, the second one a matte cover, the third one a shiny cover, and the fourth one a matte cover.
Oh, nice.
And they feel so good together and then look really good on the shelf. Yeah, I would highly recommend buying them. I would highly recommend reading them. So the first one is 9-month Contract, which is book 1 in the Mountain Men Matchmaker series, and that is by Amy Daws. My next one is Toxic by Nicole Blanchard. And then my last one is Give Me More by Sara, Cate, and that is book 3 in the Salacious Players Club series.
Lovely. Okay, so I had high expectations for my month and I fucked it up, baby. So I actually only did 18 books this month, which for me is hella low. But I do listen to a lot of books at work, and I wasn't at work for half of the month. Maybe longer, because I did go on this hen do.
You're on holiday.
On my holiday. However, I did DNF 2 books this month. So I did DNF Smut by Karina Halley, because we both agreed that was a no-go.
Yeah.
Which we replaced with The Other Brother by Tierney Page.
So glad we did
Loved
that.
it.
Yeah.
Had a great time. I also DNF'd one of my 12 for 12s, which was The Saltwater Curse by Avina St. Graves. My issue with this book, because I'd seen a lot of mixed reviews, and I was like, I think I'm going to enjoy it. My issue with this book is I got to about page 200, and I was like, the only reason I'm carrying on this book is because I like the pet that's in it.
I would also carry on just for a pet.
Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening in this book, and there's a pet shark dog called Vaseline, as in the petroleum. What?
Shark dog?
Yeah. He loves a coconut as well. He chases coconuts.
You're gonna have to tell us what this is about.
He's so cute. He was so great, because whenever it would be a chapter of his, he was like, you know, Donkey out of Shrek.
Oh.
He had that energy.
Oh, I love that.
And I just fucking loved it. And I was like, well, because he had his own chapters. And I was like, well, I've got to stick around for this. I know. And then I noticed I was on page 230, and I was like, fuck all has happened. I can't.
You can't just keep reading just for the
I can't
pet.
keep going for the pet, which was really annoying. And genuinely, I wouldn't even suggest reading it to anyone.
What was it about?
So it begins with her with her partner, and he like abuses her and stuff. She ends up stabbing him to death. And then she kind of works for like an underground bad situation. Like she does like passports for people, and like she's on the run basically.
Oh.
And then you've got this monster guy that lives in the sea, and his whole family are like on this curse. So they're all dead, but there's like this whole curse on the whole kingdom. So his whole kingdom, there's like this curse, and he believes she can break the curse because they're meant to be mates.
Right.
And they're meant to bond. So he then is figuring out ways where he can get her, but because he's not familiar with like human interaction, there's like really funny parts, because she'll say something to him and he doesn't understand what she's saying, or like she'll swear at him and he doesn't understand it. He thinks she's being nice. So there was like some bits where I was like, that's good, that's fucking clever. And then like when she found out that the shark dog was called Vaseline, she was like, what, like the petroleum? And he was like, what? Like, because he doesn't understand. But yeah, it just, nothing happened. There was a moment where, because she's human, she was like, I need water, like I need a drink. Can't drink seawater. And then it felt like we'd done 100 pages of her trying to get food and water.
Oh, yeah. That's not good, is it?
It wasn't great. And then she has this like little bond with Vaseline because Vaseline gives her coconuts and he's like, have the coconut. And then she's like, oh my God, I can get water out of the coconut and I can eat the coconut. And then she's like, you're a good boy. And then he's like, oh my God, we're best friends. And and then so I just hung around because I was like, well, this is going to be great.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, actually, I can't just hang around for this.
See, you would think that if it took that long, how many pages was it in total?
367.
So you didn't have that long left?
No.
So it would have had to be wrapped up in 130 pages.
I think it was 2 hours that I had left.
Yeah.
And I was like,
what was realistically going to happen that was going to knock your socks off in those 130 pages?
Yeah, it just wasn't great. And do you know what? That's fine. I'm glad that at least I tried.
Yeah, exactly.
The other one, which I really did want to talk about, and I thought I would end up talking about it, was Nyla K's push.
Oh.
I know. So, what do I say about this?
I don't even know
there's nothing to say about it.
I don't even know what it's about.
It wasn't great. There's cheating in it, which is fine in the book, not in real life. But I don't know. It just I didn't have a good time. So we've read obviously Double Edged, and I've read For the Fans, and I fucking ate them up. 2 of the best books I've ever fucking read. So when I went into this, I was like, oh my God, I can't fucking wait for this. I'm so excited. But it just fell flat. Like the spice wasn't great. It was way too long. I think the narrators as well, I didn't enjoy. One of the main MMCs, I didn't like his voice. I was like, why does he sound like this? So yeah, it wasn't great. So it's basically daughter's boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the dad and the daughter's boyfriend one night.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. Get it on. And then keep getting it on. And then the mum follows him one night, finds out where he's been, and then she's like, well, you know, I'm not going to stop you. And then he's kind of like, well, why don't you join in? So then it's mum and dad with the ex-boyfriend. I know. Yeah.
What the actual fuck?
I know.
I mean, we've read some fucked up shit, but that really...
I know. And I was like, even when I was reading it, I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm enjoying this. If it was 300 pages long and we'd just taken chunks of all the good stuff,
I get you,
and put that all together, then that would have been fine. But this went on forever, just of them fuck-arsing about. Like there was a moment where he was in a nightclub, where he was in a gay bar with a guy that he met at their party, and he just fucked him in the toilet because he was like, I need to know if I like guys or not, or if I just need to, you know,
the boyfriend or the dad.
Yeah, the boyfriend.
Yeah.
And then again, there was like another moment where they all broke it off with each other because there was like, oh, it's too much. He then got back with that guy, and then they went to this party together, and then they were at the party, and it was, I don't know, it was so fucking long. So much happened. So yeah, I mean, I was going to say I wasn't going to talk about it, but I've just spoken about it, so.
It's fine.
Yeah.
What did you end up giving it stars-wise?
3 to 3.5. Because there were a couple of spicy scenes where I was like, oh, okay, I see.
Mm-hmm.
But it was fucking long. It took forever.
I'm not going to lie. Like, I love Double Edged, and Double Edged is like, oh, it's so fucking good, and it ate that up. But I did say at the time, I did feel like that was just a little bit too long.
Do you know what?
I don't know if she just writes like that.
For the Fans probably went on a bit too long, but I just loved their relationship, so I just let it slide. But even I could feel like
it's a bit long now.
Yeah, about 100 pages ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a month. Anyway, so, and also, I've been crying for half of the month after those emotionally devastating books. That fucking ruined my life.
Yeah.
So you're lucky that you've got something out of me. So I've gone for The Hunter by LJ Shen, The Long Game by Reid, and also I'm going to do the Corrupt Cowboy series by Emma Creed, because I've spoken about this a lot on socials and I've never actually been through it. But I read this in May. So bear with me when I get to the notes on this, because I made it all up today, and we'll just see. We'll see what comes out, basically. So yeah, that's me.
Okay, so I'm going to start with 9-Month Contract by Amy Daws, which, if you're watching on video, it's this book here. You see those lovely sprayed edges. This is a shiny cover. I fucking loved this. I absolutely fucking devoured it. Oh. It was so fucking good. It was so funny. I immersive read the whole thing, and I actually was doing, so I think I did like half the book, and then like immersive reading it sort of in one sitting, and then the other half of the book, I did it whilst I was on the treadmill. So every day I just left it for whilst I was on the treadmill. So I just had my phone propped up in front of me, my headphones in. I don't know if anybody uses the Kindle tool where you download the audio in Kindle and it highlights the words as it plays. So I use that every single time where it's possible to immersive read. I just really love it. So on the treadmill, obviously, it just makes it a little bit easier to read and to follow as you're moving. Yeah. Anyway, and I really enjoyed it. And every day I was like, I would get the treadmill and I was excited to like pick up the story. And I just really loved it. Now, I wouldn't usually like something like this because obviously 9-month contract. It is based around pregnancy. The whole thing is a pregnancy trope. Yeah. One big, massive breeding and pregnancy trope. And I would never, ever usually like that. But oh my God, was this so wildly different to what I would expect. Like if someone said to me, oh yeah, it's like based around pregnancy. Like, and I don't know what I would picture in my head, but what I was given in this book was nothing like what I think I would have expected it to be. It was so fucking funny. I was cackling. I was in a gym. It wasn't like a treadmill in my house. I was in the gym and I was laughing my fucking head off. Like genuinely. And at the end, I was crying. I was like having little teary moments. At the end, I thought people are going to think I'm fucking nuts. Anyway, I was having a great time. So I'm going to give you my stars and chilies just straight off the bat, and then I'm going to go straight into all of my notes. Now, I do have extensive notes on this, so strap in. I gave this 5 stars and I gave it 3.5 chili peppers. There's no anal from what I can remember, but the dirty talk was crazy fucking good, like so good. And the scenes were like so hot, which is insane for me to say because she's pregnant. Yeah. It was just written so fucking good, and there was like the perfect amount of spice. I cannot stress enough. Everything about the book was perfect. The pacing was perfect. The spice was perfect. The tension was perfect. The humor was perfect. Like the length of the book was perfect. Yeah. I wish I could ram it down all of your throats. Honestly, it was so good. So the kind of like tropes that we have: small town rom-com, found family, forced proximity, intentional pregnancy. That's important. She's his surrogate. Sort of single dad, because obviously he's the dad of the baby, but he's doing it on his own. And the book is just one giant breeding kink. Oh, massively. Nice. Yeah. So it's only 344 pages, which I feel is quite deceptive when you look at the book itself, because I wouldn't look at that and go, oh, that doesn't look too bad. I would look at that and think that's 400 and something. Yeah. Like that. But yeah, it's only 344 pages. So it's actually a decent quick read. I feel like it's just a really good length. It's narrated in duet by Erin Mallon and Teddy Hamilton, and fuck me, did they do a great job.
Wait, aren't they the same as the second book?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice.
7-year itch.
Yeah.
And I said, so I'm going to talk about this now. So I read this series out of order because I didn't want to start with the pregnancy book, and I started with 7-year itch, and I had such a good time reading that. It was so funny, and I immersive read that, and Teddy Hamilton was in that one as well. And I had said at the time when I reviewed this in the pod at the time that I enjoyed hearing Teddy Hamilton in a more jovial kind of like funny rom-com role rather than the dark romance kind of stuff. And because I loved that book so much, which was book 2, I decided to go back and start the series from the start, and now I'm going to do it in order. Obviously, I'm just going to skip book 2. And I wish I had started at the start, because if I had started with book 1, I would have given book 2 5 stars, full 5 stars, because it provided more context to things that were a bugbear for me from book 2. Right. For example, they spent a substantial amount of time in Mexico on holiday. And when I went straight into that book, I was like, why are we on fucking holiday? Why are we on holiday for so long? Why are we in Mexico? Obviously, I knew why, because we were at a wedding, but it was the wedding of the people from book 1. And at the end of book 1, you get why they're there, and then you get the context of the niece who is matchmaking them all. So I definitely think, because now I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. Because if I had finished that, I'd have been like, I'm buzzing to get into book 2 now. Yeah. See what happens with Calder in Mexico. Can't wait. Fucking buzzing. But obviously I've already read it. So I would say, and this is one of my notes, if you're going to do this series, do it in order. Even though they They are technically interconnected standalones, and if you wanted to, you could start at any of them. But the wider context and the overarching story is important. And I think especially when you get to book 4, which is the niece's story. So basically, it's called the Mountain Men Matchmaker series. And all of these men, they're brothers and they live on the mountain and they're being matched up by the niece because they're just miserable, grumpy fucks living on a mountain. And she's like, you can't live like this. Like, this is sad. This is really sad. So she starts meddling. So she's like 17, 18 in book 1. And obviously as the books go on, she gets older until you get to her own book at the end, which obviously I haven't done yet. Okay, so let's talk about the men really quickly. So we've got the older brother, Max. I am going to do a rundown for this, by the way, but just let me get through these kind of like basic notes first. So the older brother is Max. And when we jump into book 1, he already has a wife and children. And I didn't know until I had finished this and researched it, but his story is told in a different book, not within this series.
Right.
So I'm 100% also going to read that because he's a big part of this series as well. So he's the dad of the niece to all of his brothers, obviously. And his book is CEO Single Dad Nanny. So it's giving worth every risk vibes.
Yeah.
So I'm fucking buzzing about doing that one.
Yeah, that's nice.
So the books are, we've got 9-month contract, which is Wyatt. Then we've got 7-year itch, which is Calder. We've got honeymoon phase, which is Luke. And then we've got bad boy era, which is Everly's book. And like I said, Everly is the niece to all of those MMCs. So I'm fucking buzzing to finish this series. I never ever in a million years thought that I would feel this passionate about a rom-com.
I know.
Never mind, not just one book, but the whole series.
I know.
And my loins are girded. My loins are fired up. Okay, so for this one, we've got Wyatt. And if I remember rightly, I think he's 38. So he's basically sworn off women, sworn off settling down, sworn off getting married. But he does really want to be a dad. And money is no object to him. Like, the family's very wealthy. They've got this, like, huge estate on the mountain. Like, Max is obviously CEO of this company, his brother, and he's got, like, a mansion and all that kind of stuff. So money's no object. So he's like, Joe, I'm gonna go through an agency. I'm gonna go through a surrogacy agency, and I'm gonna be a little single dad. And, you know, I'm gonna bring a baby into the world, and it's just gonna be me, my baby, and my pet goat Millie, and that's it. And I fucking love me a pet. You know, I love me a pet. So this was right up my street because there was many a pets, and it was fucking fabulous. So he starts going through the process of finding a surrogate, and his brothers get involved, and obviously Everly gets involved, his niece, and you know, some meddling starts to happen, and she's like, look, let me just try and help you. I'll help you find a surrogate. And he's like, ugh. Fine. So he goes through 12 candidates, and every single one of them is a big fat no. He's like, nope, she's no good. Nope, she's no good. Nope, she's no good. So he's sort of like, oh, for fuck's sake, it's just not going to happen. I can't find anyone. So Everly is like, I think she's outside the surrogacy agency at one point. I can't actually remember, but she bumps into Trista, the FMC. And immediately Everly's like, well, I like this woman. I think she'd be perfect. So Trista is actually set up as like a potential surrogate at the agency.
Yeah.
So she doesn't want any kids of her own due to her upbringing, stuff like that. But she's like, I want to give back to the world in that sense. I want to give someone a child if I can. And she needs the money, basically. She is broke as fuck. So Everly kind of approaches her and they have a little conversation. Everybody's like, I think you'd be perfect for my uncle, blah, blah, blah. So we fast forward and Trista goes to meet Wyatt. Trista's like, she's a curvier girl, but she's very much like, she talks first and thinks after. She is who she is. Very truthful, very honest, very funny. Like, there's no filter. She's just really great. And Wyatt was like, this is a breath of fresh air. You know, he asks her, why do you want to do this? And blah, blah, blah. And she's completely barefaced honest. And he's like, I appreciate that. So he's like, yeah, I like her. So they agree a 9-month contract.
Woo! Let's do this.
So he's like, well, I want you to come and stay with me as part of the contract. Like, you can live in the apartment above my barn. Insert forced proximity.
Hey!
Whoop, whoop.
I fucking love that.
So now she's living on the mountain. She doesn't have to worry about money anymore. You know, she's not broke as fuck anymore. And she's like, yeah, okay, fine. We'll do the 9-month contract. The baby will be born. You'll take the baby. I'll give up all my parental rights. Done deal. I'll go away with cash. Everyone's happy. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Right? Doesn't end up like that, does it? Because this is a small town fucking romance, baby, with a grumpy mountain man. So they do get pregnant, and they get pregnant pretty quick, but they don't get pregnant the old-fashioned way, like as in doing the deed with a P and the V. They also don't go down the like heavy medical route of like going to a doctor and having them do it. They do it what I believe is called the farming way, where he finishes in a cup, she gets is it a plunger? Pessary or plunger thing, and then she just sticks that up inside herself and squirts it in. And she bought the kit off Amazon. So that's how they get pregnant. Okay, so she gets pregnant, and then he becomes hella possessive. Like, he knows he's kind of possessive of the things in his life anyway that he considers to be his, so he becomes hella possessive. Then he starts getting jealous, and then things get spicy, and they're like, right, let's just do it. Like, we need to get it off our chest. You know, we can do this. We can be intimate in that kind of way. We can have sex until the end of the contract, and then it's fine. Everything will be fine. But obviously it's not fine. Feelings get involved. Yeah, it was so cute. It was so steamy. It was spicy. It was funny. And I feel like that is so hard to do. I'm really hard to please when it comes to rom-coms, especially the com element of a rom-com, the comedy part. And it was just utter perfection. I don't even know how else to describe it. There wasn't a single moment where I was like, oh, come on, this is taking ages, or okay, I'm bored of this now, or oh, I didn't really like that. Not a single thing threw me off. Okay, so I'm going to go into my favourite scenes. One of my favourite scenes is actually the insemination scene. When it's time for her to get pregnant with his baby. It's not long after she actually turns up there and they agree the contract and stuff, and she turns up at his apartment and she's like, oh, look, I'm ovulating. Maybe we should just get started, you know? Yeah. And he's like, oh, okay, we need the kit. And she was like, never fear. I have the kit off the Zon. So she whips it out and she's like, I've already got it. So she gives him his little cuppy cup and she's like, oh, off you go. So off he goes, you know, and he's like, this is so weird. She's like standing in my kitchen. But before he goes off, she starts pulling bottles of wine out of her bag. And she was like, I knew it was going to be hella awkward, so I brought wine. She just basically unscrews the cap, flicks it off, starts guzzling it down. So then he goes to have a beer. And then obviously it's like hella awkward. And he's like, actually, just give me the fucking wine. So the two of them guzzle like 3/4 of a bottle of wine in like 15 minutes. And they're like, right, okay, let's fucking go. So he goes off with his little cuppy cup, finishes in the cup. And then he comes back out. He's like, oh, I left the cup in there and stuff like that. And she's like, oh, did you put it in like the plunger, whatever it's called? And he's like, oh no, I didn't do that, I thought. And she was like, what, you didn't do that? And she's like, so I've got to do it. And he's like, well, I just didn't really like, and it's just hella awkward. Oh my God, it's so awkward. So then she's like, okay, so she goes to get the cup and the little plunger, and then she picks up the cup and she's like, oh, it's still warm. So then she puts it in the like little plunger, and then she goes off to her room, and he's like, he's like with her, making sure she's got like all of her stuff. And then the two of them are in the room, and she's like, oh, you know, I read online that you've got a higher chance of getting pregnant if you orgasm at the same time that you're inserting it inside of yourself. And she's like, oh, I forgot my vibrator. And he's like, don't worry, where is it? And she's like, oh, it's in my purse. So he runs out and comes back. So she's standing in the bedroom holding his cum, holding his man juice, just like between her thumb and forefinger, like as if it's going to explode. So she's just standing there like that, awkwardly waiting for him to come back, thinking he's going to come back with her whole bag, her whole purse. He comes back with the vibrator. So he comes back and he's holding this tiny little pink vibrator in his hand, like it's going to fucking explode. So he walks into the room and the two of them are just standing there looking at each other. She's holding his cum and he's holding her tiny pink vibrator. And they're like, oh, this is fucking awkward. And it's so fucking funny.
Oh, that's so good.
I've actually got a quote from that scene as well. Okay, so the quote from the scene is, she says, he's a mess. His giant hand dwarfs my tiny pink vibrator as he holds it in front of him like a grenade with no pin. And there we both stand, face to face, staring at each other with bombs in our hands and no fucking idea what we're about to get ourselves into. Bombs away, I reply and take the vibrator from him. It was honestly the whole scene. So I was on the treadmill and I was laughing so much. I was cackling away. It was so fucking good. This isn't another favourite scene, but it is something I did really love. It was how much she really loved animals, and she basically just kept accumulating them throughout the book. So at the beginning of each chapter, it's like weeks pregnant, X. and then animals on the mountain, X. So it starts at like 3, and then it's 4, and then it's 7, because she goes out and she gets a load of chickens, and then she turns up with a horse one day. She's like, it was going to be killed, and the horse has like a defect, so its tongue just hangs out its mouth the whole time, and it's so fucking funny.
Do you know what? Like, this
There's a
whole
pig.
series feels like it's like a proper feel-good, you know, like,
oh,
not even
really
when you're
is.
down, but you know, like when you've got nothing else to read and you're like in a bit of a slump.
Or you've just read something really dark.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was such a welcome reprieve after the emotionally devastating podcast and all those books. I cannot even tell you how much I needed this. It was so fucking good. So to finish this off, I'm going to quickly just rattle through like a bunch of quotes with no context. So, how do you feel about having my uncle's baby? Also, I have a foster puppy in my tote bag that I'm pretty sure peed in there because the side of my shirt is soaking wet.
That's good.
Do you want to meet my goat? Trust me, I can handle each bit of you every day of the week and twice on Sundays.
Oh, yeah.
I nearly fell off the treadmill when I read that.
Good. You
thought I was controlling before. You haven't seen anything until I sink my cock deep inside you. Then you'll really be mine. He says to her at one point, stop fucking with it and pull it out. I'm going to fill you with my cum. You like that, Lucky? Do you like the thought of me fucking you like an animal outside in the dirt like this and spilling my seed into your greedy little cunt?
Oh, sir.
Yeah, that was when he was literally fucking her in the barn. There was a few scenes like that were absolutely insane. And he calls her lucky because she was lucky number 13. And the last quote is, and this is one that like literally had me crying on the treadmill. I read that one of the most important things a father can do for his child is to love its mother.
Oh, stop.
Honestly.
I bet you was crying your eyes out.
I was, yeah.
Bet you was.
How good does that sound?
Yeah, it sounds really good.
Sorry, I know like I was really over enthusiastic about it, but I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
I ate it up start to finish. I could not recommend it more. And now I know what book 2 is like because I can tell you that book 2 is just as good.
Yeah. I stopped book 2 probably about halfway through because I didn't have time to finish it. But I think I'm going to go back and then restart
from book
book
1.
2.
I would say go all the way back and start book 1.
Yeah.
Start from there.
And then start book 2.
And then start book 2 again.
From the beginning, yeah.
When you've got all that context, yeah. Okay, I said a lot of words just then and rattled it off, probably with 0 breath, so I'm going to have a drink now. Off you go.
Okay, I'm going to talk about The Hunter by LJ Shen. So, when I saw this book, because when you look on Goodreads, it's like some guy on the front, like, without his top on. You know, the classics. But then when I saw the actual cover of the paperback, I fucking love it.
Yeah.
It wasn't giving, like, a lot of what it's about. You know, like, sometimes when there's a guy on the front, it's like...
Yeah.
Okay.
We've said this before as well, haven't we? Like, one of the only series we've ever really accepted a guy on the front is The Lords.
The Lords.
Mm.
And that was only just.
Yeah.
So this is the Boston Bells series, and this is book 1. So this was brought out about 6 years ago. I'm not going to lie. One thing that I will now do is not read anything by LJ Shen that is probably 2024.
Yeah.
So I feel like she's just found her flow with whatever she's writing now. And that's totally cool. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I will carry on reading whatever she brings out from now on. Okay, so off the bat, I'm just going to go for stars and chili. So I gave this 3.5 stars, but I actually gave it more 3 than 4. And I gave it 3 chili papas. I had really high expectations about this just from reading the blurb. But it was far too long. And there was a lot of fuck-assing about unnecessarily. However, there is a brother in this, and he is in book 2, and I think he's going to be right up our street.
Oh, okay.
Like, so far up our street. So book 1 is about Hunter and Sailor. Book 2 is going to be about Killian, Fitzpatrick, and Percy. So Killian is Hunter's brother, and then Percy is Sailor's best friend. And then book 3 is about Aisling, which is Hunter and Killian's sister, and then her and Sam is Sailor from book 1's brother. All of these people are in all of these books, by the way. So I'll go and do a rundown. FYI, these people are 19 years old. Ooh. So very young, and yet very active in the bedroom. Someone has some skills that shouldn't have that many skills at that age. So we start off, we've got Hunter. He wakes up one morning, he's just had an orgy with 5 girls, and everyone has been watching it on YouTube, porn sites, Twitter, everywhere. People were videoing it and plastering it all over the internet. His mates come in and they're like, shit, like these girls have gone to the police because they're kicking off, because they're saying that basically you forced them into it. And he was like, no, fuck off. Like, they had a great time. Like, you can see from the videos, they had a great time. I mean, the video sounded like a fucking riot. It sounded great. But anyway, so he gets arrested. He's like, do not tell my dad whatever you do. So, of course, his mates call his dad. So then his dad goes down there. He ends up paying $2 million to each of the girls and he gets him out. So their family are like the wealthiest family in Boston. Like, they're well known by everyone. So this guy can't get away with shit. And he's meant to be taking over the family business as well. But he's known as like a bit of a joke. So his dad likes Killian, which is like the oldest son. And then he's just known as like he's all right kind of guy. So his dad bails him out. And then his dad is like, look, you're fucking with our life. All of the time you're just doing stupid, dodgy shit. I need you to calm the fuck down. And, you know, I can't trust that you're going to take over the business and do all of this good stuff for all of us when you're acting out doing orgies and shit. So I'm going to put you on house arrest for 6 months. You have got to stay celibate. You've got to be sober. And you're going to have a nanny who's going to look after you. And said nanny is a girl called Sailor Brennan. She's known as the girl at school. So he says that she is like the tomboy lesbian who's got a carrot top. That's what she's known. That's what she's known as. So he's like, oh God, that's awful. That's disgusting. So she's like into archery. She's really... So in my head, I was picturing Mildred from Zed to begin with.
Yeah.
But then slowly she started to progress into like this beautiful butterfly.
Aww.
I mean, even at one point, she says that she says this about herself, that she looks like Ed Sheeran in tights.
Oh.
Anyway, so he propositions her. His dad's like, you need to go speak to her and get this deal done. Otherwise, you're out of the will. Like, me and your mum have written up new wills. You're out of them unless you can do this for 6 months. And what they've said to Sailor, because she's into archery, so she wants to do Olympics. So he said, I will sponsor you. And basically you'll get like loads of brand deals and all of this stuff if you stay with my son for 6 months. So Hunter goes and meets her after she's done some archery and they have this little conversation. She agrees to it and then she goes to the house. He's not there and the house is like covered in shit. Like, it's a mess. The apartment is a state. Like, it's a beautiful apartment, you know, like all of the windows and all of the doors and it's all like shiny and shit, but it's just trashed. So she picks up all of the trash and just puts it in his bedroom. I was like, this is great. I like your energy, girl. You're getting this.
Yep.
They end up having like tiffs all the time. Like, they're not getting on. It's all very like logheads. So he ends up, because obviously for a guy that's been sexually active every day of his life for however long, he's like itching for a kiss. Just a kiss. So he says to her, look, we've got to go to this fundraiser, me and you together. You can bring your friends as like moral support if you kiss me. She's like, no, I don't want to kiss you because you're gross. You're disgusting. And he's like, well, I don't really want to kiss you, but I need to have a kiss. Like, I need to get some action. So he's like, you can have your friends there and when I tell you we need to kiss, we kiss. And she's like, fine, okay, whatever. So then like there's this whole situation where they start getting to know each other and she starts to like glam up because she's like wants to impress him a little bit. So like there's like this moment where they go to like a diner together because he's like, let me go and take you for brunch. And he ends up taking to like this pub situation and it's a bit of a dive and like these guys call her ugly, so he ends up fighting them. And there's like all these little moments and like he tells her about his family and his upbringing and she's like, do you know what, he's actually quite a nice guy. And then he finds out about her and like her upbringing and like her whole family just fucking love her and he's like I want that. Like, I want a family that love me as her family love her. And they just end up having this like really cute bond. But anyway, so the first time that they kiss, oh, it was so fucking good. So they end up having this argument when they get back into the house, like full on loggerheads. He's like in her face, has her up against the wall. And then he just goes, kiss me. And I was like,
ooh.
He was like, I'm cashing in, kiss me now. And he just lifts her up and then kisses her. And I was like, it was so fucking good. Ate it up. Loved it. But outside of that, it was fine. So there's like this situation where she's going for the Olympics, but there's this other girl that's going for the Olympics as well. So it's these two are basically against each other, but the other girl has got like more branding and stuff. But the story comes out at the end of why this girl has gone for the Olympics, and it is fucking twisted as fuck. Oh. And then it properly kicks off at the end. And then another plot line happens because you've also got Hunter, who eavesdropped on some guy that wants to take down his whole family. So then Hunter's like, well, now I've got to take him down. There's so much going on. And yet it was just fine. Like there's not really a lot more I can say about it. I have got favourite scenes though. You'll be glad to know. So one of my favourite scenes, when they first do it. So he uses this little cash-in situation as like a thing because obviously he's meant to be staying celibate and she's meant to be basically his nanny. So when they first do it, they don't have the conversation about where he can finish or anything like that. And he plugs 3 fingers inside of her so that he can finish on her so that nothing goes inside. And I was like, look at you! Plug in. I like that.
It's clever.
Anyway, my actual favourite scene of the whole thing was a good old hate fuck, as we like to say. So there's a point in it where obviously he's still meant to be celibate, so none of his friends should know that these two have been fucking each other. But at this point, they are down bad for each other. His mate invites himself round with his girlfriend, and they need to act like there's nothing going on between them. They're like, should we go out and we're going to go and watch like some movies and stuff? We're going to have a few drinks, all of this stuff. And she was like, I can't believe they're not inviting me out. Like, oh, well, like I'll just like watch a film at home. I'll go and have a shower and stuff like that. So she goes in to have a shower. And then she's like, oh, what else can I do? Like, oh, I'll just put on my... So she has like this baggy T-shirt on when she's getting out the shower. She walks out and they're all stood there like, what are you doing? Oh. We've been waiting for you for ages. Like, why aren't you ready? And she was like, I didn't know I was invited. And they were like, yeah, come on. And it was like, oh, that is so cute. So that happens. And then they end up going to like this theatre, this like rundown theatre situation. It's only them 4 in there. And they're watching like old films. So they're all sat there in a row. And then Knight and his girlfriend end up like dry humping each other. So she's like, so they're both sat like facing the screen. He's then pouring M&Ms into his popcorn, like proper chowing down whilst all of this is kicking off next to him. And she's like, oh, like, I want a bit of that action, but with Hunter. And he's like got no idea what's going on. He's just like having a little munch. So then she like puts her little pinky out to try and like touch him, and he does nothing. And she's like, oh, fuck this. So she gets up and like storms out. Oh, it's so good. She storms out and then she's like looking at all the decor and she's like touching things and it's all very decorative and stuff like that. So she ends up behind the screen and she's like having a little look around, and then she turns around and he's there, and then he's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why did you just storm off? And she's like, well, you know, you didn't want to talk to me. And he's like, it's because I don't know how to talk to you. Like, I've never had a... And then he goes to say girlfriend, and then he's like, lady friend. Oh. And then she's like, well, maybe this just isn't going to work then. Maybe we can't do this anymore. And then I can't even remember how it started, but he basically hate fucks her. And he's like, this is a punishment orgasm you're about to have because you tried to end this between us and it's not ending on your terms. Like, I would lose everything if we end this now. I would lose everything, but really, he would lose her. The little cuties. Aww. Anyway, so they're like hate fucking each other on the floor. Like, he literally fucks her so far into the floor. And then before she's about to come, he pulls out, pulls her head back, puts his cock on her forehead, and then traces a line of cum from her hairline all the way down to her mouth. And then he just looks at her, and then she's like, they're both staring at each other. And then she's like, okay. And then she opens her mouth, and then he finishes in her mouth. And I was like,
oh my God.
Bravo.
That sounds great.
And then, just as he finishes in her mouth, they open the curtains, and both of his mates are like, oh, I mean, we knew this was happening, but we didn't realise you was doing it here. And then she's like, looking at him, and then he just looks at her, and then he just walks off and leaves her there. Cum all over her face. I was like, oh, bravo. What a performance.
I mean, that sounds like a great scene.
That was a great scene.
Imagine if she wrote that scene now.
I know.
How much that would slap hard.
Achilles Ferrante Yeah. Tate and Gia doing that?
That's definitely more an Achilles scene, I think that is, isn't it?
That is an Achilles scene. You'd fucking love that. Oh, we would eat that up.
Yeah.
So yeah. It was good. There was some good scenes, but it just went on for too long. And you know what? Like, it got to the end. So when everything kicks off at the end, you go back 7 years and you figure out like what happened with her and this girl that was in the Olympics. And then like once they get their situation resolved, then you've got his situation that needs resolving. And it was like, fucking hell. When would it end? So the next book, so the one thing that I did like about Killian was there was one scene in this where Hunter had called him to ask for some girl advice because he was like basically going to come clean about the whole him and Sailor situation because he didn't know what to do about it. And Killian was in Paris with some girl and then he was like listening to him and he was talking in French and the woman was like, what do you want for breakfast? And he went, you, or something like that. And I was like, sold.
Yeah.
Okay. He's my guy. In Paris. He's having me for breakfast. Let's go.
Let's fucking have it.
Let's have it.
Yeah.
And he was dodgy as fuck. Like, proper dodgy, proper villain, proper, like...
That sounds good.
Won't take any shit. I think it's actually called The Villain, the next one. So I am going to read the next one, but it's not, like, on my radar.
As in, you're not desperate to get through it. Yeah.
No.
Shall I just go straight into my next one?
Yeah, go for it.
We're just going to keep rattling through these now, I think. So my next one is Toxic by Nicole Blanchard, and I don't actually have as much to say about the next two books as I did about the first one. I gave this 4 stars, and I gave it 2.5 chili peppers.
Oh.
There wasn't much spice in this at all, which really shocked me. I thought it was good. Not that I thought it was going to be loads, but I thought we were going to be sort of like 3.5 edging towards a 4 at least, just because of what I'd kind of like the impression I'd gotten about it. So some sort of like little tropey information-y bits. Duet narration audiobook, dark romance, accidental pregnancy. He's pierced in various places. He's pierced on his little man tatas and also his PP. He gives her a pet name of, this one is for the Haunting Adeline readers, Little Mouse.
Yeah, okay.
And I was like,
that would have fucked me off if I'd seen that.
I can't get past that.
Yeah, that would have pissed me right off.
I really struggled with that because every time my eyeballs laid upon the words Little Mouse, I thought of Haunting Adeline and Zaid Meadows. Hella domestic violence, prison doctor / inmate relationship, list of triggers, including but not limited to torture, abduction, domestic violence, blood and gore, dubious consent, non-consent, sex near a dead body, etc., etc., etc. Now, there is another trigger, which is a major trigger, that I haven't mentioned because it could potentially be a spoiler. So all I will say is just put your eyeballs on those triggers if anything related to pregnancy affects you. For me, the domestic violence and like the psychological manipulation in this was the worst for me personally. I was hella angry. Like, I was so fucking angry, and I felt exactly the same in the Torment duet when I could see the gaslighting, the manipulation, the violence. When I could see that made it stirs up physical rage that I can feel in my chest.
Yeah.
So going into a rundown, we've got Tessa, who is married to a fucking cunt of a man, and I cannot stress that enough. All of the abuse, all of the coercion, all of the control, all of the rape, everything you could possibly think of, this shitty arse waste of skin man was doing it to her. And the opening chapters are explicitly detailing all of those things that he is doing to her. They are quite difficult to read, those opening chapters. We go straight the fuck in. It's hard going. So Tessa and her husband both work together in this prison. He's the warden, she's the doctor. So he knows everything that's going on in there, and all of the prison officers. I'm not sure what you would call those guys in America. What do you call them? Because in the UK they're prison officers.
It's the same thing, isn't it?
Are they? What are they called? I'm sure, is there a different name, guys, for prison officers in the States? I'm not too sure. But all of the prison officers are basically in his pocket, so they all know to keep an eye on her, and they're all like little fucking snitches and rat on her back to him over the tiniest of things, so that at the end of every day he's always got something to say to her. You embarrassed me today, you did this. So he punishes her at the end of every day. It's fucking awful. So there's a new inmate that comes into the prison, and he's gotten in a fight, something's happened, he's been sent to her, the doctor. So he goes in, he's being patched up, she goes in there and she's like, fucking hell, he's hot, he is. And obviously she's in a place where she's just like, hates her fucking husband, hates her life, she's miserable. She obviously hasn't been willingly intimate with anyone for a long time, you know, hasn't enjoyed it, blah, blah, blah. So she's like, fucking hell, he's hot. Like, and she is attracted to him. She's like, he is good looking. But she knows that she has to be careful with like prying guys and people who are watching. So she's kind of like sort of flirting a little bit with him in this kind of like initial meeting. Not too much is said. And he can notice the bruises on her. Like, and it's obvious to him like that it's her man that's doing this to her. And immediately he's like, this man's a prick. This man's a no one should be laying their hands on a woman like that. So he's also instantly attracted to her. This instant attraction on both sides. Anyway, she goes home. Word gets back to the warden, to her husband, that she was like flirting with this guy. She gets a beating for it. And he's like, don't you fucking go anywhere near him, blah, blah, blah. And obviously she's like, well, he knows that's completely impossible because I'm literally the prison doctor. So I'm going to have to see him. And then from what I understand, and I don't know if I've understood this incorrectly, but the book moved at such a fast pace that it was difficult to wrap. It was difficult to know sometimes. From what I understand, he then started working for her in that department. You know how inmates have to have like little jobs. Yeah. So he ended up being with her like every day. So then they started getting closer. And then we go from like nothing to her being pinned up against the wall by him. And it moved so fucking quickly, which leads me into my only negative about this book. And the only reason I think if it had been longer or potentially even a duet, it could have been 5 stars. It had so much potential. I cannot even stress that enough. Like I enjoyed it. Like I did enjoy it. It was written well. I did have a good time with the overall story. The things that happened, the scenes, like some of the scenes were so hot. They really were. But it was just so quick and fast paced that I was like, whoa, how the fuck did we get here? When did that happen? To the point where when we first met the inmate, Grayson, I was like, oh yeah. Yeah, he sounds great. This sounds absolutely delicious. And then we weren't really given any time with him at all to get to know him, to explore him, to believe that they really did have this connection in this short space of time. Anyway, he ends up having her like pinned against the wall. They kiss, all this kind of stuff goes on. He then convinces her to help him break out of jail.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. Which he does. So he breaks out of jail, and this all happens around the same time that she's just had enough with her husband. She goes home one night and she starts biting back and fighting back. And then after that, she's like, I'm done. Cut the show. I'm done. I'm out. I'm packing a bag tonight when I get home, and I'm leaving and I'm starting over. Anyway, so she ends up breaking him out of jail at the same time that she's going to like run away. So he breaks out of jail. She goes home. Then her husband turns up. And then Grayson turns up. And then it all just fucking kicks off. Then she runs off. And then we time jump forward. She ends up getting kidnapped. She gets taken to this warehouse where she is heavily tortured. And I mean like blowtorch to the bottom of the feet, searing off her skin kind of actual torture. Lordy. Hanging her up with her arms above her, so her arms are completely fucking dead, like booting her in the stomach, like all this kind of stuff. So that happens. Then Grayson turns up. Then Grayson ends up taking her back to his house and does a little abduction of his own. Then she's confined to his house. And it's just... it all just moves so fast. Yeah, and it just all wildly like kicks off. And then at that point, obviously she's in his house and he's like, you're not allowed to leave because obviously there's still people after us. And then there's like a little revenge kind of plot in there where she wants to get revenge on the people that like tortured her and stuff like that. So then they agree to do it together, and so much happens. And I can't even remember how long this is. I think it's less than 300 pages. I'm pretty sure it is. Let me just double check. Yeah. 296 pages.
Jesus Christ.
It moves so quickly. It was coming to the end of the book, and I had 20 pages left, and I was like, is there going to be another book to this? Because how the fuck are we going to wrap this up in 20 pages? She wrapped it up in 20 pages, and I was like, what the fuck? Including some kind of epilogue. I was like, that's insane. Like, and that's how fast it moved, you know? So for me, we should have spent a lot more time in the prison. So much more time should have been spent in the prison. There should have been more days where she was working with him, where they were genuinely getting closer. I could have believed in their connection of them getting together. It should have been like he was really putting it on her initially so she would help him to break out of prison, but then he started feeling things for her.
Yeah.
But it just felt like I just didn't believe it, you know? Like, especially when you get to the end and all the I love yous and stuff are being said, it was sort of like, I don't know if I believe this. Like, I'm not sure, you know? And I was rooting for her, but him, I was like, I don't actually care if he ends up with her. I would be happy if she ended up just starting a whole new life on her own. Now, usually I'm a big advocate for happily ever afters. I like to know if it's not happily ever after. And I would have considered her going off and starting a new life by herself a happily ever after, because I was that disconnected to the male main character in this. And that was really sad because, like I said, I was like, at the beginning, I was like, yeah, he sounds fucking delicious. He does. He's going to come in and swoop her off her feet. And yeah, I just didn't believe it. So I do have a favourite scene, regardless of what I've just said. And it is actually the scene when he pins her up against the wall. So things are getting heated between the two of them. They finally crack. He like pins her up against the wall and he like grabs her thighs.
Yeah, we love that.
Lifts her up. Fully clothed. So they're in her office in the prison. The door is shut. He grabs her thighs, lifts her up against the wall. So he's got a better angle to like grind and rub against her. Oh my God. And they're talking about how they can hear people and the nurses and stuff walking past outside. And it was just, he starts like rocking against her and grinding against her until she finishes. And she finishes just as a nurse walks past the door. It was so hot. Honestly, some of the scenes were genuinely so hot, which is why I gave it 4 stars. Like, the story itself was actually really good. It just needed to be so much longer.
Yeah. It's very... There's not a lot of times where we will say that something needs to be longer.
No, that's true.
So that's a good sign.
Yeah,
because most of the time we say that was way too long.
Yeah. He actually describes himself when he very first meets her as a good old Southern boy just without the manners. And that's when I was like, yeah, I am gagged for this man.
Yeah, he sounds great.
I do only have a few quotes from this one, mainly because every scene was so short that there actually wasn't that much dialogue. So we have lie back, spread your legs. I'm pretty sure there was a you're mine in here somewhere at the end. There is a quote on page 273, so somewhere near the end, that she says, and I quite liked it. She says, I'm a criminal and a fugitive, no better than what I considered Grayson when we first met. Then it makes me wonder if I was ever the good person in this story. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm the goddamn villain. And the last quote is one that kind of describes why it's called toxic, because when he has her locked in his house, he doesn't want to let her go. She then says to him, and if I said I wanted to leave, you wouldn't let me go? And he says, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't let you go, but I'd spend every day convincing you to stay. Now, that sounds okay, but in the context of the book, where there's a lot of kind of like manipulation and control and gaslighting, he is toxic.
Yeah.
Like, in that sense, because I was like, when I was reading it, I was like, because usually it'd be like, well, you know, if she said to the MMC, you know, if I wanted to go, would you let me? They'd be like, of course I would, but I would wait for you forever.
Yeah.
You know, all cutesy like that. And he was like, fuck no. I would force you to stay, but I would spend every day convincing you that you wanted to be here. It's like, that is a bit toxic, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it, really. That's all I've got on that one.
Okay, the next one I'm going to talk about is Long Game by Rachel Reid. I was fucking buzzing off my tits to read this, because I feel like I've been talking about this for ages, and I was originally going to wait until the next series comes out, because it's meant to be about the long game. But then I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to read it and see what happens. Several points I want to make first off the bat. A, when I tell you, all I could picture was Hudson and Connor doing every single scene that was in this. It made it 8,000 times better.
I felt like that when I read Heated Rivalry.
Oh my God.
Picturing them in that book, it just made it so much better.
So, like, There's so many scenes in this where I'm like, I can't fucking wait to see this play out because it's going to be incredible. Every time that they called each other Rosanov or Hollander, I thought I was going to fucking collapse because that has me weak at the knees. That does. I also think I've got a thing for Ilya and chairs. Because there's like a moment, I don't know why, there's several chairs in this with him based around doing the chairs. There's like one way he's fucking him into a sofa and the sofa's like
moving.
Yeah. There's another one where he like moves a fucking leather chair and gets Shane up against it, and I was like, oh, Ilya and chairs, I'm telling you now, sexy as fuck. So then we've got Show Me.
Nice.
Touch Yourself.
Nice.
Get Yourself Ready for Me.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, there's a moment in this where Shane drives, I'm going to say 5 hours, but it could be more, it could be less, with a butt plug in.
Oh, Lord.
That's not right, is it?
That's a long time.
That's a long time to have a butt plug in. And surely, at what point do you go, I've got to take this out. I can't deal with the bumps.
Well, if you need to fart.
I didn't even think about that. I can't last 5 hours without farting.
But it just
either.
pop it. Imagine what does anyone know? What happens if you fart with a butt plug in?
Does it flap around the edge of
can
the
you
plug?
can you push it out? Or does the end of the plug, the actual plug part, does it flap? Yeah. Does it do like it pushes out a little bit? Does it squeak around the edge of it as it comes out? I don't know.
I need to know now. Homework. If you could all suss this out for us, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, this scene, it's one of my favourite scenes. So I'm not actually going to go into this properly because I don't want to spoil it for anyone, because honestly, it's so fucking good. But I've got 4 favourite scenes, of course, because why not? So it was cutesy, it was heartwarming, it was heartbreaking, and it was fucking spicy, and it was delicious. So this one is a direct continuation from Heated Rivalry, and also there is a mental health rep going on because Ilya is now down in the dumps. So he is struggling with the idea that they're doing everything that Shane wants to do, and Shane's got his whole family there, so they've got like the cottage, which is Shane's, and they've got, when they see each other, it's at Shane's place, and like all of this stuff. He doesn't have any family anymore, and he just feels lonely. And he ends up going to see someone, and that just ends up forming a big part of this. So there is like a lot of fallouts, and they're also trying to battle how they're going to tell everyone that they're actually together. And there is a scene, I didn't cry, but I thought I was going to cry. There's a scene in this where when it's played out on telly, if not everyone cries at it, I'll be fucking surprised, because it was spectacularly, heartwarmingly breaking. It was just fucking incredible. So my rating for this was 5 and Spice 3.5. So there's like loads of situations in this, and I thought, because there was so much going on, I was like, I don't know if I'm really going to get on with this because it's just really scatty and all over the place. But I think it's because it's a fucking good thing that they brought out that TV show, because that's all my mind went to. If you don't know Heated Rivalry yet, I don't fucking know why. Where have you been this whole time? It's and there's a TV show. So either read it or watch the TV show.
It's a hockey romance as well.
Yeah.
Very, very spicy.
Yeah.
Deliciously spicy.
Book 2 in the series, which is Heated Rivalry, was actually spicier than this one. This one was a lot more cutesy.
Oh, that's nice.
But it did have some tres spicy elements, and I'm about to go through every single one. Okay, so my first one. Ilya's been at an event, and Shane is at the house, and he is 3 fingers deep in his own booty hole.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is a lot, because men's fingers are massive, aren't they?
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's when Ilya says, get yourself ready for me. So Shane's getting in there, he's lubed up, he's right in there. And then Shane's like, but don't finish. He was like, I want you to get to the edge and keep getting to the edge, but not finish until I see you. So then he is a fucking mess by the time Ilya turns up at the house. So he literally goes up to the bedroom. Shane's there, knuckle deep, having a good time. He ends up doing him. So Ilya has got his legs over his shoulders. He's going to town on him. And then Shane finishes into Ilya's face. And then Ilya finishes, pops himself out and finishes onto Shane's chest. And then Shane's looking at him because he's like, oh my God, I don't think he likes that. I don't know what he wants to do. And then literally Ilya grabs him and then they have a cuddle.
Aww.
I know, and I fucking loved it. So that was one of the scenes that I can't wait to see with my eyeballs. I want to watch that shit unfold. My next one was the butt plug situation. So Ilya's having a party. So Ilya goes through this stage where he's like, I want to do all the things that are going to make me fun. So he has this party. Shane's obviously not invited. So Shane then drives however many hours with this butt plug in. And then so he turns up, Ilya strips him, and then he says, that is very slutty. This is what Ilya says to Shane.
Oh, and his little Russian accent. Even Russian when you said that, I was hearing it in his voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mwah, can't wait. So Ilya tugs the toy out, bends him over the couch, and then starts doing him from behind. And then because he wants to get deeper, and Shane says, harder, I want to feel this for days, he flips him over onto the side of the couch, and that's when it starts fucking moving across the floor.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
I was like, oh, you two are going to be the death of me.
Yeah.
And then Ilya tells him to make yourself come now. And so then Shane starts whacking himself off, and then he finishes, and it was good. Really great. My next favourite scenes is the wall of mirrors. I don't even know how I ended up in this scene. I just knew that we was at a wall of mirrors and they're both naked. And then Ilya is stroking Shane off from behind. So then he's stroking Shane off in the mirror. And then he says to Shane, watch yourself finish. And then Shane's getting into it and he's closing his eyes and he's like, open your eyes, watch yourself finish. And he finishes and they're both watching his stomach contract and convulse and all that stuff. And I was like, this is fucking hot as fuck. Can't wait to see that with my eyeballs. Okay, and then my favourite scene of the whole book, Shane normally has salmon and fucking poached vegetables or whatever. He's always a really good eater, but he's been eating Snicker bars because he's down in the dumps.
Oh.
So Ilya's always eating Snicker bars. He lives off shit food.
Right.
But Shane is always eating well, but he's having a Snicker bar. So Ilya knows he's in a bad way.
Okay.
So they go to his house and he takes him to the trophy room and he's like, I want you to see all the things that you've done. So he pulls out this leather chair, bends him over the leather chair and then strips him. And then he's like, I'm going to go and get some lube. I'll be back. So Shane's now naked from the bottom down, just looking at all of his trophies in this room. So then Ilya's in a dialogue is, I want to leave him there for a bit so he realises what he's achieved. So, because Ilya's got a puppy now as well that he's fucking obsessed with. Anyway, so he goes downstairs after he's left Shane there, starts playing with the puppy. Then he goes and gets a glass of water. Then he's just stood having this glass of water for 10 minutes, just chilling. This whole situation's happening whilst he's just left Shane in there, arse in the air, whilst he's meant to be getting lube. So then he goes back in. Shane was like, where the fuck did you go to the shop? Where have you been? He was like, no, I just wanted you to, just embrace it. Anyway, yeah. And then so he sticks this cock ring on him and then he does him from behind. And they just have this wonderful moment of Shane realising that he's actually the best person in the world.
Aww.
As is Ilya. And yeah, that's it really. I fucking loved it. Honestly, every single one of them scenes, I can't, once that graces my eyeballs, I don't think I'll ever live again.
Yeah.
I'll physically pass away.
I reckon season 2 is going to be better than season 1.
Yeah.
And that's a bold statement.
Yeah.
I reckon.
Very.
Yeah.
This one is going to be a lot more emotional as well. So, obviously, the first one wasn't very emotional, but it was very sexy.
Yeah.
It was hot. Whereas this one's going to have more emotion, but also still have some hot moments as well. And I think everyone's going to fucking eat that up.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, shall I go into my last one?
Absolutely.
Okay, so my last book is Give Me More by Sara Cate. Sarah Cate, either or. And that is book 3 in the Salacious Players Club. I gave this 4.5 to 5 stars.
Oh!
I think upon reflection, having finished it now and going back, I'd say 4.5 probably is right. I think 5 would probably be a little bit too much. I did actually write down, if a 5, it would be a very light 5. So I think let's just stick with 4.5. Okay, so some tropes and stuff are, and I didn't know this, it's why choose. Why choose / polyamory, so it's MMF. Friends to lovers, which I absolutely eat up. Sex club by awakening, fucking love a by awakening. Dom sub dynamic, forced proximity, only one bed, double pen both ways, and a reformed playboy. So we've got Hunter and we've got Isabel. They are married. They've been married for years now, 7 years or something. They've been together 10, whatever it is. And Drake is their best friend. He started off as Hunter's best friend originally, but he's now their best friend. Like, she's besties with them too. Hunter and Drake both work for Salacious Players Club in some variety. So the three of them are about to go on a business trip together to around the country to have a look at all of like different types of sex clubs and how they run and what kind of ideas and stuff can they bring. Are there any like acts or certain types of entertainment that they can bring to their own club? So they're going to be away for a few weeks, and I feel like just saying that the three of them are going to be alone together for 3 weeks going to different sex clubs, I feel like the story writes itself.
Oh, for sure.
With that start, it just writes itself.
Yeah.
I don't even know how we got to this point, to be honest, but Hunter, the husband, basically has like an epiphany one day. I think it was because, so they were at this sex club and the guy was doing a shibari demonstration and he needed people on the stage, and Hunter was off with the owner of the club, so it was her and Drake that were like just watching this demonstration together, and the guy was like, you two, you come down and do the demonstration. So then they had to get like up close and personal together, and they were all like, well, this is weird. Like, this is really weird, because she had to take her dress off and he had to like tie the ropes around her, and then he had to like the guy was like, okay, and now let's demonstrate how you would use those ropes in certain positions. So he was like, to pull her to you. So then he had to like pull her by the middle of the ropes and pull her to him, so they were like pressed up against each other. And then he was like, now another position, he had to flip her around and then grab her by the harness at the back, the ropes at the back, and then bang into her from the back. So how you can use it as leverage. So he was demonstrating that. So obviously he was like pressing it against her, and she's like, oh my God, he's hard. And he's like, oh my God, I'm fucking hard. And the two of them were obviously turned on. The tension in that scene was fucking incredible. Like, absolutely insane. The tension throughout the whole book was so fucking good. And the spice in every single, not a single scene missed.
Nice.
It slapped so fucking hard. So anyway, Hunter then ends up walking in part of the way through this and is like, oh, I think I kind of like this. I quite like seeing these two together. I think I want to see my wife fuck somebody else. So then it escalates, and basically at breakfast one day, they're obviously on this trip. They're sitting at breakfast one day, the three of them, and Hunter just goes, do you fancy fucking? And I'll watch. And they're like, what? And Drake's like, no, abso-fucking-lutely not. It'll ruin our relationship. It'll ruin our friendship. It'll ruin your marriage. I'm not fucking doing it. He storms off. Conversations are had between them. She ends up being like, do you know what? Yeah, I like him. I trust him. If it's what you want, you know. And she's sort of like, I can see that he kind of likes you anyway. She doesn't say this to him, but she in her head is like, you know, I can see that there's more between the two of these guys. And she's always had like flirty banter with Drake as well, but obviously they've never done anything about it, and they've never even really acknowledged that it's flirty. Yeah. They just have existed in each other's space. So eventually everybody agrees to it, but Drake is sort of like, look, let's test run it at the next sex club that we go to visit, and no sex involved, but if you don't like me touching her and you lose your shit, you get jealous, then the deal's off, we're not doing it. And he's like, okay, solid, let's do it. I fucking know I won't be jealous, but sure. So they get to the next sex club, and Drake and her like by the bar, and Hunter's like lingering around and whatever, and then that's where they kiss for the first time. So then they kiss, and it gets heated. His hands start moving. He puts his hands up her dress. He's like proper grabbing her arse, and then his fingers slip to underneath her panties. And then the next thing you know, Hunter comes barging in, grabs her, throws her over his shoulder, takes her over to an area, I don't even know where it was, like a separate room or a separate area, throws her down and fucking rams it home because he was that turned on. And then Drake leaves thinking he lost his shit and he was jealous. And then he's like, so then Hunter has to go and find Drake, and he's like, no. I was so fucking turned on, I couldn't wait a minute longer. I had to sink into her there and then. And he's like, trust me, I want to do this. So then they do it. And that's literally it. They end up doing it. And obviously, it's not a slow progression because it's very, very spicy. The book is so fucking spicy. And obviously, their kind of little relationship and romance progresses as well, which was just phenomenal. So Drake is already established as bi, and obviously his best friend knows that as well. But Hunter has never explored men ever, but he feels this connection to him. And there's one scene. Oh my fucking God. Honestly, I nearly fell out of the galaxy. The universe nearly imploded in on itself because I nearly lost my shit. So basically, Hunter obviously is the cuck. He's sitting in the cuck chair. He's watching, Drake fuck his wife. So Drake's ramming it home, and then he's like, I don't just want to be doing this here. I want to be close to him. I want him sort of semi-involved. And Hunter does get involved a lot. Like, he does then start getting involved, not just being sitting in the cuck chair. So in this specific scene, Drake grabs her, Isabel, takes her over to Hunter, sitting in the chair, sets her down. So she's facing him. So obviously he has to get right in between Hunter's legs. Yeah. So Drake's legs start touching Hunter's legs. And that's like the first time that they sort of like start to touch. Yeah, no. And then he starts ramming it home on her. And then Hunter puts his hand around and starts playing with her. And then Drake is like, I'm just gonna try and see what happens. So he takes his hand and he puts it on Hunter's leg, on Hunter's thigh, as leverage instead. Yeah. And Hunter doesn't say anything, but they like lock eyes in that moment. And obviously he's ramming it home at the same time. And the eye contact is insane. And they're like holding eye contact. And Hunter moves his hand from on her little bud to 2 fingers either side of Drake's peen and just leaves them there. So he's like fucking his fingers as he's going into her. And nearly passed away. Oh my fucking God. It was so hot. Honestly, I've literally got in capitals here. So fucking hot, I was going to implode. It was, the tension in the book was off the fucking charts. Because you obviously had the tension between like her and Drake, the wife and Drake, the best friend, and then the tension between the 2 guys as well. Yeah. It was so good. So there's a scene where after they've sort of started doing it, the 2 guys, Hunter and Drake, they've established they sort of like each other, and they've also established in the relationship that all 3 of them don't need to be there together. They don't all have to be in the same room. They can have individual moments together. So Hunter and Drake are together, and Hunter pins Drake against the wall, like face to wall, and starts humping his back. And then he like spins him around and just grabs one of his legs under the knee, hikes it up, and then they just start like rubbing together so he can get like a better angle to rub together.
Those angles.
Hunter says to him, I'm gonna come, then I'm gonna take you home and fuck you while my wife watches. I mean, the spice is the plot in this. Yeah. But oh my God, when you're like, when we read a Why Choose and we're like, the swords crossing just makes it a million times better.
It really does.
I cannot even begin to tell you how fucking good the spice in this was. Oh my God. It was utter perfection. And that's it really. That's all I've got to say about it.
Yeah, nice.
I'm
sound incredible.
Definitely going to carry on the series until they're finished, because I think, like I said before when I talked about the last one, there's a new one that's out and it's something daddy. I don't remember anything else except the word daddy in the name of the book.
And that is all we would. And I'm
just trying to make my way there. That's all I'm doing.
I see daddy, and that's where I want to go.
Yeah, I'm taking the steps to get there. I'm getting there. And I'm enjoying it along the way. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm excited about doing the next one. I don't even know what the next one's called, actually. But that's it. That's me all out for the day.
Nice. Okay, I'm going to finish on Corrupt Cowboy series by Emma Creed. And like I said before, just bear with me with this one, because this is from May. But I felt like I'd spoken about it so many times that I wanted to actually get into it properly. This is genuinely one of the best cowboy series I've ever read, because it had fucking everything. It had spice. It was dark as hell. There was, found family. It was, oh God, honestly, it was absolutely incredible. So when you read the first book is not great. It's like the book that sets the scene. However, it progresses so fucking well. Like, some bits are so terrible. You're like, what the fuck just happened? I cried. I think it was book 5. I was crying my fucking eyes out.
Oh, wow.
Something very bad happens, which you don't see coming. And because you end up, there's 7 books in total. They're all novellas, by the way. So they're all like 200 pages. But you end up on this like journey with them the whole time. Yeah. That as soon as something bad happens, you want to fucking riot. Like, you're ready to fight for them. So each one is 200 pages, and every 2 books is about one couple. So the first 2 books are about Garrett and Maisie. Book 3 and 4 is about Wade and Leah, and book 5 and 6 is about Cole and Savannah, and then book 7 is about Mitch and Evelyn. So that is like an interconnected situation. So my rating for this whole series is 5 and The Spice is 3. However, I did rate all of the books between 4 and 5, but as a whole, like for me, it's a 5 because I just fucking ate it up. Like I loved it so much. Like I'd smash through all of these books one after the other. Like I couldn't physically put them down. So you have got the Carson Ranch and then you've got the Mason Ranch. So the Carson Ranch is the people that we like and the Masons are the people that are their rivals. So back in the day, the Carsons, it was Granddaddy Carson was like the leader of the pack. So everyone was like branded. He was like a bit of a bad guy. They were doing dodgy shit on the side. It was all very corrupt, but it was great. They was all having a good time. Everyone had everyone's back. And then Granddaddy Carson ended up taking his own life, but no one knew why. That does all come out in the books. Honestly, so much happened in these. It was insane. So then Daddy Carson took over. So Daddy Carson is like straight laced. He was like, I'm going to go legit. I want things ran how I want them ran. But at the same time, he didn't really give a shit. He was kind of like, yeah, let's do what we've got to do, really. So then Garrett, who is then the son, he was like, nah, I'm going back to the old ways. Like, I want this ranch to be like top tier. I want everyone to fear us. Like, I want to keep doing all the dodgy shit and I don't care. So you've got the brothers are Garrett, Wade and Cole. All of them top tier MMCs. So the first book, well, 1 and 2. So you've got Garrett and Maisie. So Maisie turns up with her mum because her mum is about to get married to Daddy Carson, which none of the boys are happy about because they're like, she's just some like LA chick that you've just picked up out of nowhere and you're going to marry her in. Then she's going to be on the will and then she's going to take everything that we've got. Anyway, so then Maisie comes in and then they think the same about her. But Wade's like the golden retriever. So he's like, do you want to go out? Should we go? Do you want to come for a few drinks? And then Garrett's the one that like watches from afar because he's like the older brother. So she was like always really curious about Garrett because she was like, he just watches me, but he's fit as fuck. Like, I want in on this. She ends up really intriguing him because he just thought that she would be like some LA girl that just won't do anything and be scared of horses and all this stuff. But she like comes in, she's sassy as fuck. She gets on with everyone and she like mucks in. So like she does her bit around the ranch. So he's like, actually, she's well all right. I'm into her. So they end up like having this little situation together, but it's like nothing serious. A few spicy things happen, but not too much. So the first book, not a lot happens in it. It's just more you getting to know all of the characters. So at the end of it, she's like, I want to stay with you. Like, I want to stay here on the ranch with you because I love you. And he's like, I'm not a good guy. I'm not the guy that you want. You've got to go. So that's how we finish book 1, is them going their separate ways. And she's heartbroken. He's acting like a prick. Classic grumpy fucking cowboy. So then book 2, she's got to come back 3 years later. But I'm not going to tell you why, but she's got to come back. And then she hasn't been with another guy. Well, she's had guys, but she hasn't slept with another guy, which means she's still got her V plates.
Oh.
Yeah. Big in the game. So she's now, I think she's 21 now. And Garrett hasn't been able to get her over her either. So as soon as she gets there, he's like, I'm getting my woman back. I am not letting her go again. I fucked up the last time. I'm keeping her. And that's what he does. Like, he proves himself and then they end up coming together. And that is just the start, because book 2 is where all of the plot lines, and I mean all of the plot lines, start to really fucking kick in. Like, whoo! There's something really bad happens in book 2, which then sort of snowballs all of the bad situations, and then you're trying to figure out who the bad guys are. And oh my God, it was just utter chaos. That's book 1 and 2. Then book 3 and 4. So all of these plot lines continue throughout all 6 books. So you've got to stick with it, like, because there's a cliffhanger after every book. So you've got no fucking choice but to carry on. So book 3 and 4 is about Wade and Leah. So this is friends to lovers. And I fucking love them so much. Leah she's like your churchgoer. She's still got her V plates. She's like really fucking sweet. But she's now being put into an arranged marriage because her dad is like, you've got no choice. I've done some stuff. I can't tell you what I've done, but you're doing this for me. You're going to marry one of the Masons. So the Masons are the rivals. So she's like, I've got to do what my dad wants because I love my dad. Wade's like, fuck that. No, I want you. She's like, Wade, it's not that easy, you know. Anyway, so he takes her out for drinks one night as friends. They go for these drinks. A lot of tequilas are had. And then they're like, oh, should we just stay in that motel over there? We all know where this is going. And if you don't, I'm about to fucking tell you. Let's stay in that motel over there. Not a problem. She's like, yeah, but we can't but that means we've got to share a bed. And he's like, no, I'll sleep on the floor. Does he sleep on the floor? And remember, she had her V card.
Oh.
She's meant to be getting married in a few weeks to one of the Masons. Anyway, she's like, take my virginity because I want you to have it. So he does. And it was fucking beautiful. And I was so fucking happy about it. And it was really great. And then they don't stop. So they just carry on doing it all of the fucking time. So the guy that she's meant to be marrying, Cade Mason, obviously still thinks she's a virgin. He also beats on her. Yeah. And Wade watches all of this unfold and he's like, I've got to do something. Like, he's like, I can't fucking cope. Like, I need to do something about this. Honestly, it's utter chaos. These books are fucking mental. So there's like all these things going on throughout the books, like all these other plot lines. But then at the same time, then you're following Wade and Leah trying to get together, trying to figure out why they can't be together because they've got this arranged marriage. And honestly, it was just utter fucking carnage. So then we've got books 5 and 6 where Cole and Savannah then come together. So Savannah is Macy's from book 1's best friend. So she's come and stay with them because her family are like proper poshos. And she wants to get away from them. She wants to live a different life in a small town, like we all do. We all want to be in a small town.
Yep.
Don't we?
Yep.
It'd be so much fucking easier. So she's like, I'm here and I'm here to stay. She is sassy as fuck. You know, like, so she walks around with her little crop tops on.
Oh, yeah.
She's got short shorts. She's like, hey boys, like giving it all the big 'em. So Cole is the grumpy as fuck one, but he's got some past trauma. So he's got some issues, like big issues, but she is all over that like a fucking rash. Like she wants him bad. They end up having this agreement, both of them, where they will just fuck each other and nothing else. They won't fall in love. Obviously, we know where this is going, but something from her past comes to bite them in the arse. Classic. And then also there is something hella traumatic that happens in book 5, I'm going to say, which will have you crying your eyes out. I mean, it made for a good story, but it was fucking sad as shit. Anyway, favourite scene in between books 5 and 6 is, so Cole gets all dressed up because he's like, I think we should go to the bar and just have a chat about the pact because, you know, it'd be good to air it out. You know, we're not going to fall in love, but, you know, basically come on a date with me, but it's just going to be about the pact. And he turns up into like the main house with like this little suit on, but it's all black. So between all of the guys that walk through, they're like, whose funeral are you going to? Or they're like, who died? Like, and it was just so fucking funny because he obviously thought he looked really smart and looked really cute. And they were like, why do you look like you're going to a funeral? And then she's like, come on, off we go, me and you. And I was just like, oh, God, I love you too. You're so cute. So books 1 to 6, that rounds everything off. Like everything is finalised within those books. And it was fucking incredible. But then they brought out book 7, which is Mitch, who's like one of the ranch hands, but he's like part of the family. Because everyone starts getting branded like throughout the books because obviously Garrett is going to start taking over all of the proceedings. So the last book is about Mitch and Evelyn. And Evelyn, she was part of a cult and got found by... So Emma Creed has got this MC series and the main guy that's in the MC series found Evelyn at this cult and then brings her to Mitch and basically says to Mitch, can you protect her and sort her out, save her? This is an age gap one. And I think he is 47 and she's like 22. Like it's a big age gap. But she was in like such a bad place before. I don't know, it just kind of worked between them because she didn't even know what telly was. Like she doesn't know anything at all. But obviously, I mean, that one ends up kicking off, but it ends up being nice in the end anyway. But yeah, it was perfect. I fucking loved it. As the series as a whole is just incredible. But like I said, if you're going to read book 1 and you think, this ain't great, I agree. It's not, but that's because it's like opening up what's going to happen. Just please continue with it because it gets so fucking good. It's addictive as shit.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, lovely.
That's it really.
That's it. That's us all done for today's wrap-up podcast that we both thought was going to be a relatively short one because we only had 3 books each.
Yeah.
And somehow it's still 2.5 hours. It's 2 hours and 20-something minutes.
That is the same size as last week's. And last week we had games.
Yeah, we must just been over enthusiastic about what we were talking about. I know, I felt like I talked about a 9-month contract for about 6 years.
Do you know what? I think it's because where we pick 3, we talk about all 3 in depth.
Yeah.
Whereas if we had like 5, I would say about 2 sentences.
We'd rattle through them. Yeah.
I would say like a few things about each one.
And actually we probably should say more because it ends up being a shorter podcast. Yeah. This is what I mean. If you give yourself more time, you take more time.
I know, but I read 2 of them in the last 2 days. So it wasn't even a wrap up. I read 1 in May and 2 in the last 2 days.
1 in May and 2 in June. Don't make me laugh. My stomach hurts.
That's really sad.
It is what it is. Fuck it, we're here now.
Yeah.
Okay, so our next podcast is going to be Mafia Romance, and that is going to be probably our last Mafia one for a little while because of the brunch. Obviously, our socials will be hella Mafia-ing for a couple of weeks with the Mafia podcast, and then leading into obviously videos and all that kind of promo and stuff for the brunch, during the brunch and after the brunch. We do have a videographer at the brunch as well who is going to be creating us some reels that we can use. So that's good. And then obviously we'll have our own content as well. Anyway, that's it. That's the wrap up. I'm going to end that here. So let's do a cheers. Let's do a cheers with our empty glasses. We'll see you next week.